kids, it's Blackjack again with 396 guitars. We have a Tele partscaster on the bench and we're going to get right to it. I'm going to describe to you what we're doing. Some of you may recognize this. We did some rewiring and pickup work, mostly electronics work. Client took it back. We only had the body in the shop. Client took it back and put this neck on it. He's having some problems, mostly relating to string spacing. The high E is too close to the outboard edge of the fretboard, and the low E is too far inboard. So he just bolted it in there using existing holes in this neck. Is not a Fender neck, but it is a licensed by Fender neck. Take that for what it's worth. It's a good neck. I know it from a previous build. The nut is a little suspect. We're going to probably put a new nut in it, and we're going to probably do fret end dressing and check for fret level. Before any of that, we're going to probably take it out of here and see what in the wide world of sports is going on as far as where it's fitting. This is a Stratocaster type neck in a Telecaster body. So I'm going to start with, just to make sure, all things being equal, I like to say, let's make sure we know where we're starting before we get too far along. I want to know if this neck is even going to live on this body before I start taking it apart. Right away we have some tuning issues. Everything was all over the board. It's got good tuners on it. I think they're Fender lockers. Anyway, I would like to know right off the bat what's going on here. 25 and 5/8 to 25. Yeah, 25 and 5/8. Should be okay there. Wonder. What's going on with this? We got to know where we start before we can move forward. Good neck relief. Good neck relief. I just want to make sure about this stuff before I get too involved in stripping it down. String action's really low. I know this player, this client, likes his string action low, except for the high E is about 3/64 higher than everything else. I don't know why, but critically, I want to know if we can't get intonation with this neck and body configuration, then there's no sense moving forward. I can tell you tuning stability is terrible. But I'm going to guess that the neck is moving around in there because probably the holes that were in the back of the body and the holes that were in the neck are probably not where they're supposed to be, and it may be fighting against forces, opposing forces. That's my guess at this point. Don't know, but I can tell you that it will intonate with this neck and this body. And if this is what he wants to do, we're going to figure out why his string spacing is so cattywampus. Going by here, everything looks good, but it starts to get farther and farther and farther away. It starts good here as far as where it is over the posts on the pickup. Now that's not the end all to string spacing. Mostly you want to pay attention to here and the way it is really on the board, right? But you'd also, in a perfect world, like your string spacing to be right over the pole pieces. We don't know. We have a hot rail here, so it doesn't really matter. But that's one of the indicators how you check string spacing. But I can tell you that the high E is not terrible up here, but when you get it down here, it's right at the rounded portion of the fret, which is going to lead to it pulling off the fretboard. All things being equal, they need to be equal and spaced correctly. So, yeah, we're going to take it apart. At this juncture, I know we can tune it. I know we can adjust the neck because I'm fully aware of this neck. He did ask about fret end dressing and stuff like that, but you know what? Until I get the guitar to mate together with this neck, we're not going to worry about fret end dressing yet, and it's not really that bad. Although some of them he tried to work on, and I'm going to assume those are the rough ones. And they're locking tuners. We're just going to knock these strings off and get the neck off and see what's going on in here. Weird oddball stuff. I don't know what those tuners are. I think they might be Fenders. I have to applaud this client. He is trying to do his own work, and I can appreciate that. Me of all people, of course. But some things are not as straightforward and simple as you would expect. Like, well, for example, bolting a neck onto a body and just expecting everything else to fall into place. There are certain things you have to do and procedures you have to perform. Yeah, these are Fender lockers. They're good tuners. All right, let's get to it. This neck is coming off. Really? Ooh, right away, a tink. Yeah, there are opposing forces. Oh, wow. There are opposing forces occurring here. It was trying to pull it this way and that, and that's never good. Oh. This screw I can actually see is going down at an angle into the neck, through the body and into the neck. If I am not mistaken, this is a roasted maple, Canadian roasted maple neck, licensed by Fender. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I sourced this neck out for him years ago for a different project that I sold him as a complete instrument. It was a different partscaster, a Stratocaster partscaster. And I was amazed at the quality of this neck. I don't know what it's been through since then, but I can tell you it's on the wrong body right now. Ooh, something is not feeling right there. Something doesn't feel right. Ooh. Something is wedged in there. Snug, yes, you always want snug. But you do not want it wedged in there like that. There's chips of wood coming out too, and there is a mark right here where it took off the body paint. By his own admission, he told me he put a shim in it, but there's no shim. There's a big piece of chip out right here. Wow. I don't know what that hole is. Not good. All right, initial impressions are, I don't know what this is. There's a big piece of chip out there in the neck heel. And it was really, really tight in there. I like snug. I don't think it's the pick guard that's keeping it from settling correctly. I'm going to put this down for a second. I really want to inspect what's happening here because there needs to be some pretty good repair here. I don't like that. I'm wondering if there isn't a crack there because I heard some creaking and monkey business going on there that is not good. You see that big chip out right there. I mean, I don't know what that is or how that happened. And there's a fifth hole right here that has nothing to do with anything for any kind of Fender instrument. So I really don't know what that is. And you can see here too as well where it was pulling against opposing forces. This screw hole is pulling this way, that screw hole is pulling that way. And we have a chip out here, and there's an opposing force here where the screw was pulled this way. All right, so at this juncture, I have no recourse at all except to repair this and make sure we haven't gotten into the fretboard at all. I'm going to have to over drill these and put oak hardwood dowel in, and I'm going to have to try to fill this with something that's going to get really, really hard, either a Bondo, wood Bondo, because that's pretty bad. You know, I can see where the screws were pulled this way and that way and this way and that way. Not good. I'm going to pause quickly while I want to know, right before I pause, I'm going to let you guys see this. I need to know how deep these holes are. I'm pretty certain I'm the one that drilled this and had it in a Stratocaster body at one point, but these holes are whopped out of shape. And then there's a fifth hole that I don't even know what that would be doing in there. Just to get an idea, where are we in relation to the fretboard? We have plenty of room. So Buddha. He didn't go any deeper than you would normally go. When I drill these out, I have to be super careful. I'm going to do them on the drill press to make sure that we're straight down, because I'm going to have to over drill them bigger than what they are and put a piece of oak, not hardwood for this. Oak. That is oak hardwood dowel. We're going to over drill all of these holes, all 5 of them, and put a nice piece of oak hardwood dowel in there. Hardwood, I mean, it's hardwood. It won't bend. I use, by the way, yeah, there are others. Maple, you know, they're hardwood, but not quite as hard. Oak is hard for this kind of thing. That's what I use anyway. If I was doing an end pin, I may not put oak. I may put a piece of pine or maple in, you know, for a strap button. But for this, yeah, I want to put something really, really hard in there that's going to bond nicely. I'm going to pause while I clean this up and try to puzzle out what am I going to do with this. I think I'm going to stand by. Just stand by. All right, kids, where are we? I took it to the other shop and got on the drill press and cut out 1/4 inch perfect square holes, measuring down to the depth and make sure we don't get into the fretboard, right? That's pretty common sense stuff. The next step is to cut the oak dowels. They correspond to each hole that I'm going to plug. I can't fix this huge chip out until I get all of these put in, sand them down level, and then I'm going to use some wood Bondo to fill that in. And of course, sand that down nice and smooth. So to finish what we're doing right now today, I'm just going to show you putting the dowels in and tapping them down. Pretty basic stuff, but there's a right way and a wrong way. No matter how hard you try, you can't cut them completely flush, and that's okay, because some of the glue will end up down in the bottom of the hole, and it will, what happens is a hydraulic press happens as you hammer it down in there. The glue has no other place to go, so it will go down as far as it goes, and that's where you stop. There will be probably just a little bit of dowel protruding. In this particular instance, I'm going to then take a belt sander or a palm sander and clean up any protrusion, right? Nice and clean, flat, and then we'll fix that and do the same process. But today's exercise, just to finish what we're doing, and this is all in preparation just to find out if this neck will even work in the body. We don't know that yet, but we have to repair this stuff first. Glue in the hole, and don't be afraid. I've been using this Ultimate stuff. It's pretty quick and it's monstrously strong. You want to make sure you have quite a bit in the hole and a little bit on the dowel, right? I'm going to show you this one. Mostly it's the glue that's in the hole that does all the work. And these dowels fit snug. And that's it. Don't go any further than that. It's going to protrude slightly. This is what I'm either going to cut off or sand down, maybe a little bit of both. I use a flush cut saw and get that down. Right? When that dries, it's going to be part of that wood because it's hardwood going into hardwood. sort of thing. This glue says it kicks off in about an hour. I know I've used it for a lot of different jobs. It's not like your old-fashioned white glue. We all know the brand. It kicks off pretty quick, but I still let it cure for 24 hours before I come back and start working these protruding dowels. These protruding dowels, they don't scare me. I would rather have them sticking up a little bit than to be so close I can't do anything with them. Little flush cut saw will zip them right off, and then whatever's left, we sand it very lightly. Yeah, arts and crafts today. And this is going to be the end of this video because really there's not much I can do until this sits for a day. Until it sits for a day. And then we'll come back and do the next step. Arts and crafts. You never know what you're going to find. And this is just the first step because I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm going to try to get this all fixed up and then space out the way it sits in the pocket so that our string spacing is correct. And I have a process for that. You'll have to stay tuned. Have to stay tuned and see how this plays out. It may be a win with this neck and that body. It may be a fail. We don't know. It's too early to tell. Got to fix this first. You follow? Alright, so this glue is water soluble, and you don't want to leave big globs of it laying around like that. Just wet a paper towel and get to it. Alright, clean it up. Clean it up, clean any squeeze out, any push out. Right. I'd really like to put some, I wish I could do this all in one step and put some Bondo in and fix all that chip out, but I don't know how that happened. I'm going to have to query the customer a little bit more. Sometimes they tell you, sometimes they don't, and they'll maybe make a mistake and something won't go quite right, and then they'll give me half the story. The guy that's really going to fix it usually gets about half of the story. And you know who I'm talking to. All of you people who bring your broken guitars to me and say, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know how that fifth hole got in there. All right. That's as far as we can go today, kids. It's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We'll be back with a part 2, obviously, and maybe even a part 3, because the next installment is going to be cleaning this up and showing you how I get it down to where we can use this neck, and in particular, that heel, and how it's going to fit into that Telecaster body. So we'll talk soon. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe, and please share.